Hello guys, in this video we'll build an stocks agent AI tool using Rust. The purpose of this video is to review the latest QWQ model from Alibaba, which is the talk of the town of AI world in this week, as this 32 billion parameters reasoning model is said to be best or at par with DeepSeek R1 671 billion parameters. So we'll be using this model, which you guys can find on Ollama. We have already covered Ollama in my previous videos on how you can run these models locally, and we'll be running QWQ locally today on my machine. So if you haven't checked out that video, should be popping somewhere on right top. Make sure to click it, watch it. So we'll be using this model QWQ. As you guys can see, it's placed on top of DeepSeek R1 here, and you can also check the benchmarks here where it's supposed to be better, as you can see, in terms of benchmarking compared to 671 billion parameters. So we'll be running this model today on our machine. Additionally, we'll be using AlphaVantage APIs, and we'll be exposing these APIs to our agent to make the right decision of which stock we should invest in. So these APIs are free and you guys can use it for learning purposes. And just go here, get a free API key. It's pretty straightforward. You just have to provide your email and org, and then just click get free API key. The API key will be pasted here and you guys can just copy and use it. And we have different APIs that we can use to make our model more smart in decision making. But for this specific video of learning how far can we go with Rust tooling for building AI agents, I'll be using the Alpha Intelligence and top gainers and losers. So this API provides you the top gainers and losers with a particular time frame. So providing few stocks, our agent can compare if you should invest in a stock A or a stock B and give us the result. But if you want to make the agent more smart, again, feel free. These APIs are completely free to use. So just go ahead and use it. So we'll use QWQ LLM AlphaVantage APIs and build our own stock agent tool. Providing our user query, our LLM will do the function calling to initiate our agent to answer if we should invest in stock A or stock B with the data provided from the APIs. By the end of this video, we might not have a perfect stock agent tool, but we can explore all the tooling in Rust to build similar and more smart agents, so you guys can try on your site as well. Without further ado, let's dive into it and let's begin. And as we start, there's a link to my Discord in description, so make sure you join it. First of all, let's add a few dependencies that we need in our cargo terminal. So first of all, we need Ollama RS for interacting with the model on our local. And once we have Ollama RS, another thing that we need is Ollama RS macros. So let's add Ollama RS macros to use the macros. And then we need is Serde with features as derive, and then we need is schema rs for our function or tooling. So then we need is request to use or consume the AlphaVantage APIs. There is a SDK for that, but it's not really there yet, like in terms of the features. So we'll be using the request client to directly make the requests. And the final thing we need is Tokyo with features full. Okay, so once we have all of our dependencies, as you guys can see here, let's check the model now. So Ollama model, okay, so there you guys can see I have QWQ latest on my machine. You can just do Ollama run QWQ to run it on your machine. For me, it's already up and running. So we'll be using QWQ model, and let's get a review of how the API that we'll be using looks like. So in this video, we'll be using AlphaVantage query / function, which is top gainers and losers, and provide your own API key, send the request, and there you go. We get some metadata, last updated time, and then we get top gainers, and Also there is top losers and most actively traded. So you can use these to make your decision. As you can see, Nvidia is in most traded, so we can use these to make our decisions on deciding which of these to invest in. So back to our text editor, and let's dive to the business end and let's start coding. Let's start with building our tool. So struct stock tool and derive as default client and request client, and then we have to pass some params to our tool. So params, and right here we need derive deserialize from SRD, and we need JSON schema from schema rs. So let's say we'll be doing the comparison between few tickers. So for now, let's stick with two. First ticker as string, second ticker as string, and then we have our response from our AlphaVantage API. So we need some models for that as well. Pub struct market data and derive deserialize, and then we have our ticker. So pub struct ticker, this is the response that we just saw in Postman. String pub price as string, pub change amount as string, or pub change percentage as string, pub volume as string, and right here let's have derive, debug, and deserialize, and then let's use it here. Top gainers as vector of ticker, and we can also have most actively traded, or top losers if you want your model to be more smart. Let's say if user asks something, it's not in top gainer, but you want to even answer if it's actively traded or in the top losers. But I'll just stick with this for now, because the goal is to help you guys understand how can we build the tooling. And then impl tool for stock tool. But actually to use this we need a dependency that we just forget in the features. So let's write, and let's go to our cannot find trade, so let's go to our cargo terminal, and right here we'll just do is version and features tool implementations, and then let's move to our main rs. And now we have our tool we can use from generation tools tool, and we have to provide implementation for all of these. So first of all, the type as params, we just have to map to our own parameters, the struct that we just defined, which is right here. And next is the name. So let's call this stock investment analysis tool. And then the description, so you can provide a long description, but I'll just stick with helps pick best stock to invest. And then finally, this is the main function where we'll be doing all of our implementation for our agent. So let's make this async, and right here we can just add in function stock agent tool can also add logging, but right now I'll just stick with prints. So response and self.client.get, and here we'll just pass https AlphaVantage.co query and provide function as top gainers, losers, and also the API key. So API key, and here you can add whatever the API key you get right here. And once you have your API key, just send and just await. So once we have our response, we'll just do response.json and parse it into market data, deserialize it, and once we have our market data, we'll make some decision making here. So let first ticker, let's say result.top gainers, and we'll just iter and do the find. So and if p.ticker is equals to our parameters dot first ticker, so if both are same, then we get our first ticker. Similarly, the second ticker result.top gainers dot iter find, and so if we have p dot ticker parameters dot second dot just second, let's rename this to ticker. Write this. Okay, because we are not returning anything, so it's just giving us error. Let's for now just do this so we get rid of this. Okay, so if we have our tickers, we can just do is if first ticker dot is none, if first ticker dot is none, and second ticker dot is none, then we just pick any of the top gainers. So let first is equals to result top gainers dot first unwrap. We just take the first gainer ticker and just respond with saying both are not in top gainers. Instead, you can trade with change percentage. So first dot ticker and first dot change percentage. So we can just suggest to pick response. Now similarly, let's add few more conditions. So I just quickly paused and added few of these conditions to make the decision. So if first and second ticker both are none, then we just pick whatever the top gainer is and ask to trade on that. But if first ticker is none, we use the second. If second ticker is none, then we use the first. And similarly, if both are basically not none, then we can just say both are good. But again, the focus here is to not build a perfect tool, but to understand the tooling, how does it work. So you guys can add more conditions, maybe add company news and all those stuff to decide the best to trade in. But for now, I'll just stick with this. Now we need a main for this, so async fan main and Tokyo main. We are using Tokyo for this video as executor because Olama RS needs Tokyo runtime. It's somehow dependent on Tokyo, so that's why we'll be using this. So let's first of all add a stock tool default and let tools as tool group, and here we can pass our tools. So right now we'll just pass a single tool that we have, but if you have multiple tools you can just pass, and or we can just say LLM Olama default, since we are running locally and the default configurations does the same. And let's have a coordinator new with tools, and here we can just pass our LLM, the model name. So since we are using QWQ, so I'll just do QWQ here, and actually string from, and history as empty vector, and then the tools, which is the tool group that we have. So once we pass this, let's make debug as true. By the way, this is an opportunity for those watching this video. The current Olama RS crate that we are using is very naive. So if you guys are trying to build something open source, go for this, because as you can see, there's no proper logging. We have to say debug as true to get that print statements. It should be proper logging, and also it's dependent on Tokyo, which doesn't make any sense. Chat. So here in chat we'll pass our vector of messages. So the first message is a chat message system, and the system message we'll pass is saying that you are expert of stock. So we can just do a string from, and we can just say you are a stock market expert. Use the stock tool for stock related queries, including comparisons. Only respond to stock market questions. Reject others with a polite message. And since this model is pretty good, so if you ask something other than the stock, it will just deny. And the next one that we have is a user message. So chat message user, and similarly let's have a user message, which we can take a user input as well, but for our v1 demo we'll just do compare Apple and Nvidia, maybe just that. And right here we'll just await, unwrap, and since we are using the debugging, we can print our own response, but we can see in the debug as well. Let's write out, and I think we have pretty much everything ready to do testing of our tool. Now let's run our application. So cargo run quite. Now since we are running the model locally, it might take a few seconds to couple minutes to respond, because it's a 32 billion parameter model depending on your machine specs again. But here we get our system and user message printed because debug is on. And right here, if you see, there's a tool call and it says tool call function. So basically that's what our model responds with, and this is the tool to call, and it perfectly maps our arguments, as you guys can see here, first and second ticker based on our query. And then it's the tool responds with both are not in top gainers, instead you can trade clue with change percentage of 264%. So let me know in the comments what else you guys will add in this tool to make it more smart, and how are you planning to build this. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys are well aware of the tooling for using with LLMs and Rust. I'll catch you guys in another video with another interesting topic. Until then, bye bye.